My name is Alexa Bushy, and in my lesson, I taught about different kinds of jobs. In the beginning of the semester, we administer a survey to our students, and one of the questions asked what their dream job would be. I calculated the most popular dream jobs they wrote about and formed my lesson around that since I already knew that they were interested in those specific jobs. My students were all adult ESL students who all immigrated from Mexico. Their English level was either a 1 or a 2 as I taught the beginner class at CASA. My goal for this lesson were for students to be able to correctly identify professions in English and be able to describe what they do with specific verbs and vocabulary that pertain to that job. They should have been able to write a brief sentence about each job and discuss what that job did with a partner or a tutor. ESL students in CASA's beginner class want to do well and be encouraged. ESL students need confidence since it is not their primary language, so they are afraid to make mistakes, especially with speaking English out loud. So they need positive encouragement to allow them to develop a greater self-efficacy and a trust between the teacher and the student. It is also important to build a relationship with ESL students because I found that the ESL students that I tutored and talked to personally about their life and their culture, they had more confidence to speak and were more interested when I went to teach the lesson. Nate helped demonstrate some of the verbs that he already used previously to my lesson to reiterate the meaning and help the students fully understand what they meant that went along with the profession. The 4 classic theories of assimilation illustrates how many theorists believed immigrants should lose their culture and language so they fit in with the American society. I put the Spanish translation of the verbs for each profession so the students would have a better understanding of what it meant, and in the past weeks, Holly's lessons have been centered around 1 or 2 verbs. By putting the Spanish translation, it also showed my support for Parks and Burgess's theory of assimilation. Their theory of assimilation focused on keeping parts of their own society and blending their culture with the host society's culture. The same day I taught my lesson, we had a Thanksgiving feast where the American tutors and the students brought in an item from their own culture to share and celebrate with the class. I put the translations to also show I supported their culture and encouraged them to speak Spanish if they needed guidance or to their friends or tutors if they needed to. These are examples of the PowerPoint slides that I incorporated into my lesson. The approach I used was popular culture that I incorporated by finding a song about different jobs and what they do. This was appropriate for my lesson because it was a catchy way to develop their background knowledge on the different jobs in English by singing along with the song. This is also called contextualized instruction. It also allowed the speaking in the classroom to be more comfortable and students were able to laugh. This in turn would allow them to develop a relational engagement to myself, the tutors, and their peers. This is the song that I use as a popular culture reference for my students. I thought that the song was silly and fun as well as catchy, so the students would be able to sing this or hum along to themselves, but still has a good indicator of the information that I was trying to portray in my lesson.
What do you want to be when you're older? When you're big and a little bit bolder? What do you want to be? Maybe you want to be a firefighter. Maybe you want to be a writer. Just believe in yourself. Oh yeah, yeah. Maybe you want to be a dentist or a doctor. Maybe you want to be a chemist or a punk rocker. Maybe you want to be a diplomat or teacher. Maybe you want to be a policeman or public speaker. Yeah. wise and a little bit bolder. What do you want to be? Maybe you want to be a nurse. Maybe you want to drive a hearse. Just believe in yourself. Oh yeah, yeah. Maybe you want to be an engineer or pilot. Maybe you want to be an actor. Just go on and try it. Maybe you want to be a waiter or a banker. Maybe you...
I tried to achieve my lesson goals by assessing them with a worksheet that asked them to first identify a few jobs in the lesson and then write a brief sentence describing each job. By asking them to identify and describe the jobs, I believed I could see how they were comprehending and implementing key words and vocabulary that I discussed, as well as my other group members did in their lessons before me. The tutors helped guide them, and I suggested to use the worksheets my other group members used in their lessons as a word bank. If I could redo the lesson, I would definitely include a word bank since I saw they were having trouble remembering each vocabulary word. I wrote them on the board to try and help them jog their memories. I would want the word bank to look like this, and I would put it on the first page next to the pictures so it would be easy for them to remember the specific vocabulary that I discussed in my lesson. My group members and I wanted to give extra time to finish their papers because that day we were celebrating Thanksgiving and having a fiesta where a lot of the students brought in different kinds of food expressing their different cultures. In turn, we did not collect their work. Although I walked around, most of the students quickly went through their identification part and finished a good portion of the back where I asked them to describe each job in a few words or a brief sentence. If I could do this lesson again, I would try and give them more time to complete their work and then collect it at the end so I can accurately see and assess and go over each person's workload that they completed. We also went over the worksheets as a class, and I asked students to come up and act out some answers to generate meaningful engagement within the class. If I could do something different to improve my lesson, I would again include a word bank like this. If I had time, I would also try and make a digital storytelling video instead of using the pop culture song so I could focus on the specific jobs that I was talking about in my PowerPoint and lesson. I think I may have slightly confused the students because the video talked about a number of different jobs. From this teaching experience, I have learned that the students enjoyed the most interactive parts of the lesson the best. They enjoyed the interactive parts of the lesson the best rather than my explanations. This was because they were engaged and were also able to laugh and have fun while learning at the same time. I also learned that sometimes students are nervous to participate even if they are confident about their answer, and encouraging my students to stand in front of the room to act out was fun and interesting way to break the ice.